Okay, can you hear that sweet, sweet noise? That's the sound of birdsong. And here we have a nice little piece of amplifier. And I'm claiming this as the first day of spring officially. It's a beautiful, beautiful blue sky out there, and I've got the garage door wide open so I can work in the sunshine. Here's my slightly dishevelled bench, but I've got lots of things going on at the same time, so I'll talk about that in a sec. Meanwhile, just enjoy this little bit of the... here we go. This is one of the TinMan amplifiers. This is one of the stages it goes through. I've just sprayed it here with the finishing plastic coat, which I don't really like the idea of, but it's a good finish. Is it working? Hi, Crazy Jack, Martin Harvey here. Right, this is a short little video. As you know, on eBay, I'm now selling the Crazy Jack amplifiers in kit format, and here's one all ready to go out the door. There's another video which is all about this, so I'll let you sort of view that to get all the details. But basically, it's the Crazy Jack amplifier here. That's all it is. Mounted on a nice bit of Vero board, which with the controls here, which you can then just slip into the cabinet of your choice. And if you haven't seen Crazy Jack amplifiers before, here's one I made earlier, using mainly pallet wood, and basically this is what's inside all of these. Right, now today I'm just going to try and keep this short because I do ramble on a bit. Today I've had an inquiry via YouTube, email, eBay store asking about the kit, and someone said, is it easy to install, because they want to do it for a design and technology project at college, which is great, and this is perfect. So the answer is yes, it is very easy to install, and to prove the point I'm going to show you in this video how to install it in one of these. Yes, it's a tin can. Now, believe it or not, the Crazy Jack amplifier kit will fit inside here. You can actually build an amplifier with it, and I'm going to show you today how easy it is to fit this kit. Now, I'm not going to use this kit today because I'm keeping that for something else. That's the prototype, and I use this as a reference point when I create all the other ones that I sell on eBay. But I'm going to install this, which is pretty much exactly the same thing, but for another project I'm working on. Let's see if I can find it down here. Oh yes, I'm working on getting it inside a tin of baked beans. Okay, you're not going to believe this. This is a working amplifier. There we go, there's a speaker. It's a bit like that jam jar thing, but I think it's a bit better because my circuit's really nice. Doing away with the plastic battery box here, I'm using wood, and this has got a speaker out, and this amplifier sounds absolutely awesome. Through the speaker out. With the little built-in speaker here, it's a bit damaged because this is my prototype and it's all scuffed up with my work. But basically the amplifier that's in here sounds absolutely awesome. Not great through a tiny little speaker like this, but through a big cabinet it's great. So the sort of novelty idea I'm working on there. But as a result of that, I've condensed this standard Crazy Jack kit down to something this size. As you can see, it's a fair bit smaller. There's a couple of reasons for that. One of them being that I think I've done away with the switch, and in this I'm using a switched jack. So you basically plug the guitar in, and that creates the contacts. Joins the contacts together. The circuit is then active, live, powered up. Call it what you want. So basically, this is the same as the Crazy Jack kit. Really, I'm just going to show you how easy it is to install this into a tin can, and hopefully within about half an hour we'll end up with something like this. This is the Crazy Jack TinMan amplifier. I'm going to do a separate video about this. This is actually the prototype. This is TinMan 001. TinMan 002 was a little bit bigger, had a slightly bigger speaker, a little bit more power, and was a lovely little amplifier. And I sold that to a chap, I think he's in Germany, and he emailed me back a while later and said, "Hey, love the amp, great tones, sounds really authentic with my Cigar box guitar setup." So you know, you can use this for all sorts of things. Take it camping with you, keep it in the corner of your office. You know, you can. I'm even thinking about putting Bluetooth units in here so that you can use it as a Bluetooth speaker. But for now, it's a guitar amp. Okay, right. So that's what we're aiming to produce. Right now, before I start, I'm going to cut this video and show you down in the garage stroke workshop some of the bits and pieces that go into making this. I've just got, and then after I've shown you that, I'll show you how we put the thing together. Right. So I've just come back from the garage. Here's one of the cabinets that's been hanging up to dry. As you can see, lovely bit of pallet wood there, with the holes all cut out, all ready to be assembled. So we'll be using that one. Here's the same thing, just to show you how it's put together. There's the tin with my battery compartment already made there, glued in. Now this is a better way of doing it than using a plastic battery box, I think. And the parts go like that, put together, and then we put a speaker on the front, like that, speaker grill, and there's your TinMan amplifier. Right, okay, so go and have a look in the garage, and when you're finished, come back and we'll start putting it together. See you in a second. Bye. Okay, take two. Let's see if this is better. I've got the camera on a stand now. So, hi, Crazy Jack here. Right, so as I was saying, I was talking about the Crazy Jack amplifiers, and here we've got one that I made earlier. Put it in the sunshine and making the most of the sunshine. We've got some sunshine. Yes, it's late January 2025. For the record. Right, here's a Crazy Jack amp that I've built before, and this is a fairly basic one, but it's made out of lovely pallet wood ends, and this is oak. This is a lovely piece of wood. A pretty standard sort of Crazy Jack amplifier, 4-inch 4-ohm speaker. Sometimes I do a control panel on the top, sometimes, as in this one, I've cut a few corners to make them more cost efficient. So the volume knob and the on-off switch, that's on, that's off, that's on, that's off. Mounted on the top, battery case on the back, plastic. I'm trying to do away with plastic in all my work as much as I can. A couple of rubber feet on the bottom, and this one, I'm calling this the stowaway because it's a nice convenient size to pop into your camping van. Right, now here's a couple more that I happen to have in progress. This is again using that lovely oak wood. Look at the front of that. Beautiful, isn't it? Sturdy cabinets, and this is pallet wood. You know, you could probably run over that in a tank and it wouldn't make much difference. So, and people are loving the gnarly character of the wood. Okay, so this one I've decided to angle the front back, so if people have it on the floor or low down, it's projecting the sound up, because believe it or not, amplifiers are pretty directional mainly, especially sort of small practice amps and things. Right, so that's the idea behind this one. That's going to be finished and going out soon. Here's one. Oh, sorry, excuse me a minute. Hold on. Okay, right, sorry about that. Friendly neighbour popped round for a chat. Now, yes, so I was talking about this one. Here's another one using that lovely oak front. And again, I've angled the front back so that it projects the sound up into the room more. Obviously, we've got no speaker in there at the moment, but this shows you another stage that the Crazy Jack amps go through. Basically, I construct the pallet wood cabinet, put on a nice front, get that all nice and ready, and we take the jigsaw to it and cut out a nice hole. Right, anyway, now the problem with these amplifiers is that there's a lot of work involved in the cabinet. The amplifier circuit itself is, well, fairly basic, and I'm selling it as a kit because basically it's difficult to make these amplifiers profitable when you put so much work into a cabinet, unless someone says, hey, that's a wonderful piece of wood. Anyway, so I've also been experimenting with smaller versions of the amp. As I said, here's the stowaway, and another one that I've been working on is what I call the TinMan. Why do I call it TinMan? First of all, it's very small, so even more suitable for sort of taking camping or just noodling in the lounge or whatever. And it's made out of a tin can. Yes, ha ha ha. Now, I've also produced the Jellyfish series, which is an amplifier in a tuner tin, including the speaker and the battery, believe it or not. But the sound isn't fantastic on those. It's okay. It's a sort of bit of a novelty, really. Sound isn't fantastic, but I'm looking for something that you actually can use, you know, a viable little thing to stick in the corner of your camper. And these are pretty good because being almost triangular, you literally can stick them in a corner. Anyway, this is what I'm calling the TinMan. I decided to eliminate some of the work on building the cabinet and build it out of a tin can to house the controls and as much of the gubbins as possible. There's a battery compartment there, and I won't take this apart now, but inside there, the amplifier, speaker mounted on the front, and a convenient little carry handle and 2 rubber feet, which is great because you can plop this anywhere and it basically will just stick anywhere. Now, this is what I'm talking about today, the TinMan. And as I said, you take a tin can in the first place and you take the bottom off with your standard tin opener. There we go. Right, and the key to making the TinMan viable is this little battery compartment. See, I've done away with the plastic. I've used some of these plain plywood laser cut discs. In this case, I've stuck one onto what was the lid, so that's come straight out of the bottom of the tin there. Stuck it onto a piece of wood so it can be secured back in place later. And then I've created a little insert with 2 of these discs, drilled a hole for the battery clip to go through, and some extra woody sort of supports like that. So basically, instead of having a plastic battery box, which will probably still plaguing the planet in thousands of years' time, at the bottom of some festering landfill site, this wood will decay naturally. I've just sprayed it black there just to make it look tidy. Okay, maybe not that environmentally friendly in that case, but there we go. So the key to the TinMan is this simple cabinet design. I'm doing away with a separate switch, as you can see on my prototype. The prototype here, I had a nice little switch. That's on, that's off, and a volume control, guitar in, and that's it. With these, the new production sort of model, making it even simpler, we've got the guitar volume on the top there, and on the side it's going to be a switched input jack socket. So basically, as soon as you plug it in, the amp is on. Okay, I'll show you that later. But the key to it is this lovely little battery compartment, and here we have a very, very relict Duracell, naturally road-worn Duracell, which slides in there so neatly you can hold it upside down. Yeah, see, nothing else required other than just a bit of wood. And of course, you pop it in there, your battery clip comes through there, and you can just clip that on and plug in and you're ready to go. So I thought to show you a little bit about the TinMan. And then of course the other part of the amplifier is the front section, which is made out of 2 pieces of wood, carefully cut to the right size, again pallet wood, and basically the back piece, I'll see if I can do this without breaking it. Yes, the back piece is designed so that it slides in like this. Here we go, leaving the rim, the tin here, protruding, and then this piece, the front, fits on like that, and then we mount a speaker on the front like this, and there pretty much is your TinMan. Okay, and that's it. Anyway, right, the second part of this video, I'm going to show you how we put it all together, and for the purposes of the person who was asking how easy it is to use the Crazy Jack kit, I'm going to show you how we actually install the kit into the tin amp. Right, let's go back to the studio. Okay, right, now I don't know how long this is going to take, but let's see, shall we? Right, so I've got all the bits pretty much ready to go, and the question was, how easy is it to put the Crazy Jack amplifier kit into a cabinet? I'll show you this actually, which I forgot to mention. These are the instructions. Now this is my rough working copy, but if you buy the kit, it'll come with these instructions, which basically show you everything you need to know about how to put it together, including diagrams and so on, how to mount it in a cabinet with a control plate, and how to mount it in a cabinet without a control plate. There's a template so that you can create your own template from either a piece of plastic or metal, cardboard or whatever you fancy, plywood. So there you go. There's that. So it does come with instructions to make it very, very easy for you to do. Okay, so let's start. Basically, as I said, I'm going to put it inside a tin can. Now this one I've prepared because I've created a battery compartment here, non-plastic. This is all sort of plywood and just basic cheap woods, but this is the way I'm doing these TinMan amplifiers now. But you have to imagine this. You can use anything. You could use a biscuit tin or a Wellington boot if you wanted to put this amplifier into. So there's your cabinet, if you like. There's the front part of the cabinet. That's sort of irrelevant if you're going to put it in a box, but this is just my little cabinet here. You need a speaker. You'll need a soldering iron and some tools, of course, but I'm assuming you can have access to those. And the Crazy Jack kit. Now, as I said, this is a slightly smaller version than the one that I'm selling online here. This is the normal standard one. But I think I'm actually going to sort of do this like miniaturized, not miniaturized, but very compact version as well for a different reason. But anyway, that's the one I'm putting into the tin can today. So, here we go. Right, first of all, I need to assemble the box because this particular amplifier comes with this odd looking cabinet. I came up with this design because I've been playing around with putting amplifiers inside tin cans for ages, but the sound isn't great. So to amplify the sound, I wanted to, use some wood, and strangely enough, even these two little bits of wood tacked onto the front of the tin can make a big difference. Not only that, but it's a neat way of fixing the speaker. It enables me to put a bigger speaker onto the front of the tin can. Is that stuck together? Yes, there we go. So this has just come back from the spraying booth, as you saw earlier, and there we go. That's the inside of the Crazy Jack amplifier. Right, first thing I need to do is to finish off putting my cabinet together. So over here we've got the tin part of the cabinet, which has just been sprayed. That's just some masking tape I'm taking off there to make the spray job nice and pretty. Okay, so I don't need that. Right, let me think. First of all, we've got to get this piece of wood onto the front there. So that's the back part. Let's slip that. Oh, yeah, this is quite a tricky one. Excuse me while I grunt and groan a minute. And hopefully I'm not going to break this. I probably will. It's a very tight fit. There we go. Okay. Now, if you're interested in these will be on sale on eBay later. I'm hoping to start a little cult of these. People who enjoy guitars type cult, that is. Right. Okay, so there is the back piece added. I'm going to line it so that the battery, when it's in, here we've got one ready to go in. I use Duracell batteries most of the time. I'm not sponsored by Duracell. I just use them because I found them to be reliable and powerful enough for what I want to do. So there we go. So there's your battery. As you can see, it's a nice snug fit there. That's pretty much all that holds it in place, apart from, where's it gone? The last piece of the jigsaw is the lid itself. Oh yes, that's the lid to another unit I'm building, but basically the lid goes on like that, a couple of screws, and that's how it finishes off. So it's a sort of neat way of having a battery compartment with minimal parts, easy to make, and also doesn't use plastic. Now this lid doesn't fit because that's from another tin. Now, strangely enough, even though baked bean tins and soup tins and everything all look pretty similar, in fact there are minuscule differences in diameter and so on. So that's why that's one from one I've got working on elsewhere. Don't know where that one's gone now. Anyway, right. So we don't need to put that on for the purposes of this demo. So there we go. So there's my cabinet. Ready to go. That's going to be bolted on the front there. But the whole point of this video is how easy it's to put the kit together. Right, so your kit comes with everything attached to it. As I said, this is the sort of base slimline version. The kit that I'm selling on eBay is like this. So it comes with a guitar knob, potentiometer, which is fixed to the board. So basically just install that through a hole in your cabinet, and that supports the board. The switch, you can unscrew this bit here, take the switch off, and there's enough wire there so you can put the switch about 15 centimeters away, I think it is. Similarly, the guitar in socket, that can go elsewhere. That's up to you. So there's sufficient wire on the kit to enable you to do that. The miniaturized version I'm using here is very similar, but it's got no switch hanging off it. But basically everything is all wired together. So all you've got to do is solder that to your speaker. Right, so let's get inside the cab, shall we? Now the first thing is, I've designed this so that the battery clip goes through this little hole here. So it's up to you how you mount your battery. You might have a plastic off-the-shelf little battery box thing. You might construct something out of wood, or you might just gaffer tape it down to the base. Now, here's my little trick. Hang on. Right. Standard electrical tape. This is how I do it. You won't be doing anything like this, but just to get this demo done, I'm going to take my battery clip, squash it up a bit, and tape it down in its compact form so that I can get it through this tricky little hole in the cabinet. Now you won't be doing this, but as I said, I'm just using this tin can thing as an example. Right, so here we go. This is how I get the thing through the hole. Thread the needle through the haystack, and it looks like I'm swinging this thing around, but it is fairly robust, but you know, you have to be gentle as well. So there's my battery clip through. That's that part of the job done. So I can take off my tape again. Let the battery clip breathe. Phew, it's a bit squashed in there, wasn't it? Now before I go any further, I'm just going to check that the whole circuit works, because I don't want to put it all together and then find that I've damaged it in doing that. So I'm just going to test it like this. And there's the battery. And of course, as I said, this is the basic one. That's interesting. Why did that come on? And probably it's shorted on the tin to make the switch. Basically, you need a guitar lead, such as this sort of thing. And now, if you watch the LED here, and I plug that in, as you can see, it comes on. So that the guitar input socket is actually the switch as well. So there we go. In this case, not in the standard case kit I'm selling online, but in this miniaturized case. Right, so I don't think I've damaged that, so that's good. So let's just continue. Put that over there. Okay, with the rest of the installation. Now, basically, you need to push once you've built your kit and cut the holes in it, you can push the controls into place like this. Right, can you see inside there? Just sort of tweaking it around so I get it in the right position, and push the socket, the guitar input socket, through this hole here. It doesn't really matter which way around you do this, it's up to you. It depends on how you've built your kit. And I've got all my bits here, so pop a little washer on there, and the nut goes on here. There we go. So that's that in position. Got my little box spannery type things here. I think that's the right one. That's a 12mm one. They do vary a bit, but there we go. So I'm just going to gently put that in place. Those lugs inside are a bit close together. I don't like the look of that. No, they're not touching. That's good. Now, when I screw these things up, I often put a watercolour brush, because I paint a bit as well, through there to stop that rotating and the lugs closing up, and then I'm just going to finish off tightening that. Right, so not do it massively tight, that's enough. And there's our guitar input socket. Now I'm just going to check again, we haven't damaged anything. So plug up, turn on your battery, like that. Get to my guitar, oops. Take a guitar lead, plug it in the socket, and my LED comes on. Nice, so we're still okay. Good, right. Next thing is the volume control. As you can see, there's the amp floating around inside. The volume control pot potentiometer, which is integrated with the board. I'll tell you what I'm going to do actually. I'm going to put some insulating tape in there, because I don't want the lugs on that. Don't want the lugs on the volume pot touching the sides of the tin and shorting out. So you'll be pleased to know that the Crazy Jack amplifiers are full of useful little things like this to make sure that we deliver good quality stuff. Right, here we go. Let's try, how do you get a piece of tape inside a thing like that? Right, there we go, see? Just going to put that in there, smooth it in. I'm going to put another bit around the other side of the hole. On that side, this is a bit like doing what we call keyhole surgery. Right. Not that I've done a lot of keyhole surgery, but there we go. Now obviously I've got to be very careful because the sides of tins can be very sharp, so I've learned to be very careful when doing this. Okay, so can you see inside I've got that black tape there, just to make sure that the little lugs on the volume pot don't touch the edges of the tin and short out. Right, so that's in position. Just going to gently coax that into place. Right, obviously if you're using a much bigger cabinet, then you're not going to have these sorts of little tricky problems, are you? Right, so then we basically put on a washer like that. There's our nut. On here, find the threads. Yes, that's on. Get a different size box spanner. Pop that on there. There we go. There's our amplifier, pretty much in our cabinet. Now all you've got to do now is solder on a speaker. Right, should we do that? Let's just get my soldering iron going. I've got a foot switch, by the way, because I'm turning it off and on sort of all the time and I'm working on a daily basis. So I've just got a foot switch under my desk, which is quite a nice little way of doing it. I'm just going to jiggle this around while I'm waiting for the soldering iron to warm up. So I'm not too happy with the way the wiring falls within there. And the reason for that is because I think I've had this kit out, in and out of this cabinet, and I've squashed the wiring a bit, so it's not at quite the right angle in there at the moment. I like to make sure the things are pretty much perfect before we send them out. So let's just extricate that amplifier. Not too much, because obviously it's still connected to the battery compartment back there. Let's just sort out this. I think that needs to go around there more. Yeah, that's more like it. Because that's going to go up the top, that's coming out the side, so that should fit better. Now, where are we? Yeah, and straight away I can see that's fixed it there. Right, so I'm just going to reattach the volume knob. Now, it might look like I'm sort of manhandling this in quite a clumsy way, but in fact I'm actually treating things very gently, not squeezing too tight. Let's have a look at the angle in there. Make sure we get that right. Yep, no, that's too far. Perfect. Okay, and with that we can tighten that up. Just going to put something through there to just get more leverage. There we go, and that's perfect. So there's our volume pot installed. The guitar socket stroke switch is here. Oh goodness me. There we go. So that's on there. Just give it a little twist. Check there's no lugs touching or anything like that. I'll stick in my trusty watercolour brush. And once again, use a file for a bit of leverage. Now, just a word of warning, if you over tighten these guitar jacks and stuff, they can fall apart inside. Which is nice. So right, there we go. So there it is again. So I've actually installed it twice. Let's just, yeah, as I said, soldering iron. Put those parts out of the way. Now let me think this through. Okay, the speaker's going to go on last, so I think the next thing to do is to pop in the LED. Now on your kit, here's the full kit. It comes with a LED ready wired to pop into your cabinet any way you want. In this case, I'm going to run it up a tiny little channel in the side of the front plate and through my LED thingy holder there. If I feed it through there like that, and yeah, okay, I knew this would. I knew I'd make a mistake somewhere. So the problem is I should have drilled a hole in the side of the can for that to go through. So I'm just going to leave the LED part of it aside for the minute. You'll just have to trust that the LED will be shining inside the tin. Right, so I'll just put the rest of my cabinet together. This will actually be easier than any sort of cabinet you are making, I'm sure. I'm sure you're not crazy enough to try to get inside a tin of baked beans. There we go. So, just buttoning up my cabinet. Okay, I'm not going to do this too tight, so I'll probably take it apart later. Yeah, I've got to take it apart to fix that LED business anyway. Right, so there we go. Now, speaker. Now this is a rough one I've got in my garage just working with to get the dimensions of holes and things like that, but let's go ahead and solder it on anyway. I think this speaker is actually damaged, so it distorts a bit. Of course, if you buy a Crazy Jack amp, you'll get a brand new speaker. Right, so here we are. This is the only bit of soldering you have to do with Crazy Jack kit. Soldering on the speaker wire. I'm not going to go into the business of soldering here and now. That's something else for you to learn how to do. Right, there we go. So made a little hole in the thing there. There we go. Nice. So that's the positive lead to the positive terminal. Pop the negative lead to the negative terminal. Give it a little tweak there. Pop some soldering onto it, like this. There we go. Now I can turn the soldering iron off, because that's the only piece of soldering you need to do with the Crazy Jack kit. Now before I button it all up, let's just check it's working again. I do this several times when I'm putting an amp together, because you don't want to put it all together and then find that you've broken something. So the LED should come on in there. There we go, you can see the LED glowing away nicely. As you can hear, the speaker is working. Right, so let's continue with the installation. All you have to do then, so if you've got a cab with your speaker already mounted, your work is done. Now, what have I got? I think I used the screws I was using for this for something else. Hold on a second. Right, yeah, sorry about that. So, true to form, Crazy Jack has run out of screws. I don't know what I've done with the screws I did have for this purpose, but anyway, we'll use just these two to hold it in place for the purposes of this demo. So there we are, there's one screw there. I'll put the other one over here. Okay. Right. Check that's nice and tight. Okay, so as you can see, here's the TinMan starting to take shape. We put a speaker grill on there, and I do have the screws for that. Don't need that one. So, and all the holes on this little cabinet are pre-drilled, because I drilled them before I do the spraying and finishing and all that sort of business. So this is dead easy. Pop this one on here. I think these are the right screws. Got half a dozen amps on the go at the moment, so in this case I have to make sure that this speaker grill doesn't touch any part of the speaker. Make sure it's perfectly aligned, because it actually rests on the screws normally, so this could be problematic. We'll see. We'll see in a second. Right. So there we go. Now the only thing missing, it's not quite on the top, it's not quite aligned. Okay, I can tweak that. The only thing missing is a handle, which we can put on later, and some rubber feet. Now I'm not going to put those on now, because the purpose was just to show you how easy it is to install a Crazy Jack kit. Now, that's an old battery. I think that one's fairly decent. So pop that on there. Insert that into the TinMan battery compartment. I think the paint's still wet on this. Now, I haven't drilled the holes to attach the end piece yet, and as I said, that's the end piece from another tin can, so it doesn't fit quite perfectly there, but we can still do the demo like this. So here's our TinMan. Now all we need to do is find the lead and a guitar. Let's see, where's my... nearly had it. Never mind.